ESPN put out its rankings of the best and worst starting lineups in the NFL heading into next season.
Okay.
We're going to look at the bottom because that's where we find the Browns. At 28,
That's where we always find the Browns.
the Tennessee Titans tied for 29th. The Cardinals, the Falcons.
The Falcons?
At 31, they had the Cleveland Browns, and at 32, they had the Miami Dolphins. We're bringing Tyvis into
the entire starting roster, not just offense, right?
Offense and defense, entire starting lineup. This is how Mike Clay of ESPN ranked the starting lineups. The Browns at 31. Tyvis is much higher on the Browns than we are. So Tyvis,
what a shocker!
Do you agree with ESPN's rankings that the Browns have the second worst starting lineup in all of the NFL?
I don't. And I understand why people – listen, I'm not naive to the fact that I understand why the Browns are put in this situation. Like, I get it. Like, I really do. You haven't seen anything from the Browns in years. It's easy to just say the Browns will be the Browns. There's a coaching change. There's a whole offensive line change. You got quarterback. You don't even know who the starting quarterback is, and you're dependent on rookie wide receivers. All of that just sounds crazy. You got a new defensive coordinator, so the defense might change drastically. And Myles Garrett, your best player in defensive football, is gone. I mean, the best defensive player in the NFL is gone. So, yeah, of course you're going to put him down there. That's just what you're supposed to do. Like that, to me, this is lazy. This is a lazy take. I mean, anybody could put this together. Honestly, shout out. I don't know who Mike Clay is, and I mean no disrespect to Mike Clay. I just think it's a really lazy thing. I mean, obviously, we have to see how it works, and I get it. Like, you got to go out there. Seeing is believing. All three of y'all are components of the Browns haven't been good. I just laid out all the negatives about what happened in this offseason. So how could you possibly be optimistic about this season? Well, I'm just an optimistic guy. I'm a guy that see the glass half full. I think that the run game is going to be really good. I really believe Quinshon Judkins is going to be heavily leaned on this year. I think the run game is going to improve drastically. I think it got kind of stagnant over these last couple of years. No Nick Chubb in there obviously made things look a lot different. We became a big 7-on-7 team. The sets that we ran changed tremendously because our offensive line couldn't block. So with all of that being said, I just think that Todd Monken and his staff is going to do a better job of, one, I think the offensive line is going to be better. I think that y'all did a really fascinating job yesterday talking about how y'all think that it's different. Obviously, Bull pointed out that the two tackles, he would take those guys over the guys last year. But as far as the guards and center goes, it's a wash for him, although Joe Bitonio and Wyatt Teller may have had higher upside and been better at times. I understand that. I respect that. However, I just think that due to the philosophy, due to the coaching change, I think that will help those guys be really good. I think Elton Jenkins, I don't necessarily love him at center. This guy was a Pro Bowler / almost all pro at guard. I think I kind of want to lean on that there. Tevin Jenkins is the guy that I probably kick out the lineup, although I'm not sure how he did last year when they benched Wyatt Teller. I'm not 100% sure. I wasn't paying attention to that guard position, how his production was. But I'm more of the fact of using either what's my guy, Luke Whippler or Brailsford or one of those two at center. I'm on that component, but the center position is very important. So if they feel like they need some veteran leadership there and a guy that can see the game at a different level and make sure that everybody is on the same page when it comes to the offensive line, then I see why they're going to go with Elton Jenkins. But as far as the position groups goes, the skill position group goes, I'm a little higher on the wide receivers. Jeudy, whatever. I don't know what to expect from Jeudy. That's not a guy that I'm truly counting on. I'm hoping that he could turn it around, but I'm not necessarily leaning on him. I think that Denzel Boston will give you some moments. I think Casey Concepcion will be one of those guys that everybody hates at first, but then he turns it around and really locks into the NFL and starts becoming an explosive guy. And then obviously it comes down to the quarterback position, whether Deshaun Watson or Shedeur Sanders is in there. I think that it's going to start off slow for either one of them. And then I think it picks up as the confidence go and as Quinshon Judkins does a better job running the ball.
To your initial point, to Tyvis' initial point, I don't know that I'd call Mike Clay lazy, but he's more of a fantasy football guy than whatever. But I think he does this every year. I actually do think, in terms of the starting lineup, the Browns should be higher than 31. Now, not that much higher, but again, maybe that's unfair on my part because
they put a giant emphasis on quarterbacks, which is why Atlanta's
right,
29.
and that's why the Browns are going to be near the bottom because they have one of the worst quarterback situations on paper.
Well, they're tied for the 5th lowest win total in Vegas.
Right.
So they're going to be.
But that's going to right. Exactly. I would have them a little higher. I would probably. Who's on the next sheet above that group?
27's the Raiders, 26 Saints, 25 Jets, 24 Panthers, 23 Giants.
Yeah, I'd probably have them below all those.
And here's the over/under bar.
Yeah.
For BetMGM. The lowest is the Cardinals, 4.5.
Yeah.
Then Dolphins, Raiders, Jets, Browns, Titans, Falcons, Panthers. So all the teams we're talking about.
I would probably. I mean, listen, I don't know the Cardinals, Falcons, and Titans defense as well as I know the Browns, but those teams have no talent. Don't have the Falcons have offensive talent.
Offensive talent.
The other two teams don't have any offensive talent either,
Right.
and I can't imagine they have more defensive talent. And it's not like those teams. Who was it? The Cardinals and who?
Raiders.
Cardinals, Raiders, Titans.
Dolphins. Like they don't have good quarterback situations either. I know Cam Ward was a high pick. He wasn't particularly good as a rookie. We'll see if he's better. So I guess I'd have the Browns a little higher than 31, but not much. I'd have them probably 27, 26, maybe 28. I don't know. Although, does it really matter?
It doesn't matter. They're at the bottom of the league.
Yes, they're in the bottom quarter, 100%.
Yes.
I just, Tyvis, I love you. I love you, man. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm on this trying to lose some weight. Bull has truly inspired me. Every time I see Bull and see how slim he's getting, it makes me look at myself and say, Tyvis, what are you doing with your life? How is it that Bull is flourishing and you just sitting there just becoming
I don't know.
a
I'm hoping to catch Jason soon.
Well, I'm about to get on a treadmill.
How much do you weigh?
I'm not
allowed to admit how much you weigh or no?
I'm right around like 230, 235.
All right, so I'm only about 30, 35 pounds heavier than you now.
God.
And G. Bush has lost a lot of weight too. He's lost almost as much as I have.
G. Bush is stunting right now.
Yeah.
G looks like he is like a linebacker now. It's kind of crazy.
I may not be able to finish the show.
I'm inspired to cut some weight. I'm just looking for like 15, 20. Like I'm not.
What do you weigh? What do you weigh right now, Tyvis? 240.
Yesterday I was 259.
What? Dude, I'm only a few pounds heavier than you.
Well,
That's
I think
what I'm
his
saying.
muscle,
59?
his muscle accounts for
I'm not arguing that he's in significantly better shape than me. I'm aware, and he's a lot taller than I am.
That's why when I ran the 485, I was so happy with it because I did it at like 260. That's exactly my point.
Ty's a defensive end.
You're approaching defensive end.
You're like Jared Verse. Bro,
Yeah,
you don't look it though, Tyvis. You really don't.
Oh,
I wouldn't have guessed
so
him at 260.
He's so tall.
Like if you see me, it's like a lot of it's in my lower legs. I hold a lot of weight in my legs.
I mean, you are a lot taller than a lot of the safeties I've been around.
Yeah.
Were you one of the taller safeties when you played?
Yeah, but the funniest part about it all is that I also play corner. So like when I went to go do, like when I would work out for a team, obviously you go into the building and other players see you. So like they automatically assume, because when you're working out, sometimes they come in there and it's like 5 corners. But some days it's like a 2 corners, 2 linebackers, 2 DNs, blah, blah, blah. So when I went to go work out, a lot of people would be like, oh, you here for linebacker? You're a linebacker? And I used to be like, no, I play corner or safety. And they used to be like, what? So it's one of those situations to where I've always been the bigger guy.
Yeah. I hear you.
Well, I was just being nice to you because I know you don't see it.
You're on the component.
I mean,
all 3 of y'all on that panel. Don't get me wrong. I understand what y'all are saying, and I don't disagree with it. I just don't like it. Let's just say that because what y'all are saying is this: y'all saying that the Browns roster is terrible, and again, I'm gonna point it out. New head coach. First, usually when you get a new head coach, that comes with a new offense. Usually it takes a team a long time to even adapt to that offense. You usually don't see them pick that offense and take off until like the second half of the season. So if that's the case, the Browns was already behind the 8 ball. Then you add into the fact that you got a quarterback who, Deshaun Watson, has not played particularly well at all. And then a guy in Shedeur Sanders who statistically is one of the worst quarterbacks. So y'all look at that and say, if that's the case, the Browns are better off to fix the Browns. The best situation is for them to lose this season, then get the quarterback in 27. You get a second year with Todd Monken. So now that offensive line and all those offensive players, young players, have been in that system for a second year. You insert that quarterback who's a high draft pick. So you insert a Dante Moore or Arch Manning or whoever the heck it is. You put them in there with those guys who is a year better in the system. They should typically be better in that next year. So y'all think the best way for the Browns to dig out of the situation that they're in is for them to draft one of these high quarterbacks, because y'all don't think Shedeur Sanders' upside is where it's supposed to be. Statistically, it doesn't say that. And when you watched him in practice this year, y'all haven't necessarily seen the growth that everybody else is seeing. So y'all think that y'all might, if the Browns' best case scenario for this season is to lose, so they can then go get the quarterback, because the quarterback is the key to winning Super Bowls. The quarterback is the only way that they're going to dig themselves out of this. I understand that. I don't want that to happen. That is boring. I don't want to sit here and waste a whole season. That's why I'm very optimistic about this Browns.
I don't disagree with anything you say there. I do think the best case scenario is that Shedeur proves the doubters wrong. I am one of the doubters. Now, I leave open the possibility that he could still be good, but I'm not a believer. But in a perfect world, yes, he plays great, and then they could use all those draft picks on other players. I don't think the roster is terrible, though.
I don't think so either.
I think the roster overall, besides quarterback, is trending in the right direction.
I said that to Earl a couple weeks ago. I think we're a year away.
Yeah.
Like I think next year we can start to have, for me, realistic conversations about this team being competitive in the division and chasing a wild card spot and all that stuff. I just think they're a year out yet. And Ty, I hear you. Like, you want to be optimistic. I try to be a little bit more realistic that, like, they still haven't dug out of the Deshaun debacle, and it's still a year away. And you can be as optimistic as you want. I still think they're a year away from totally being rid of that and being rid of the stain of that whole thing and being able to push forward into the daylight. So I really don't think we're that far off.
Are you saying that? Is it because Deshaun Watson's on the roster? Is that what you're talking about? Because he'll finally be off the roster? Is that what you're talking about?
I think that it was such a swing and a miss that it will take multiple years for them to dig out of it. And I think there's one more to go. One more draft class. Yes, get him off the roster. Yes, get the cap situation. Get rid of all of that to where they can operate functionally again and go back to being able to spend more on free agents, all of that stuff. But when I say we're not that far off, I think you and I really aren't that far off. I think we're a year apart and are where we think they are.
Yeah, I'm more so with Bull. I'm on to me personally, I think that the reason that I believe that I'm more optimistic about Shedeur than a lot of people are, or a lot of you guys are, is because I'm not naive to the fact that the whole what happened with him and Kevin with the whole no training camp thing, or not getting the reps and having to learn things on the fly. See, y'all look at it as a guy who statistically he didn't put up the statistics that you want. I looked at it as, when I saw him in Baltimore and I saw them do what they did to him in Baltimore, I saw a guy who, even in that, as bad as he looked, still had a chance to win that game. You know, if Gage Larvin catches that ball, we sing in a different tune, right? And I know you'll look at it as, well, and a lot of people will look at it as, well, when he came into the game, if mistake me if I'm wrong, I believe the Browns were. Yes. Exactly. So y'all look at it as he came in and he was so bad that they lost the game, that even if he did that, y'all still wouldn't be a believer in him, because he had lost the game and then he had a chance to tie it up or win the game in the end, and he didn't do it. So that's how y'all look at it. But I look at it as a guy who, over the course of however many games that he played, I saw him on the fly get better. I saw him on the fly see the game slow down just a little bit. It wasn't for 4 quarters by any means, but it was moments where I'm like, all right, it's starting to click for him. He's starting to figure it out. And that just comes when you get reps. So that's why, to me, I'm a little optimistic, because he's getting reps this offseason. Like, this, it isn't, he's on another field with throwing to the water boys. Like, it's not that. Like, he's actually getting these reps, and it's like, I'm hoping that the more reps he gets in there, the more that he does it, the more it slows down. And I'm hoping that it clicks for him right before the season starts or when at some point in the season. Because Bull is right. If Shedeur is the answer, we move forward quicker. Now we're not using a first-round pick on a quarterback. We're using a first-round pick on other areas. So that, to me, is why I am where I am in the boat, to where I would love for them to go out there and win 7 to 8 games this season. And realistically, I feel like there is a road for them to do that. And I'm going to view that road until it's not there anymore.
Fair enough, Tyvis. That's why we love you. Your optimism.
Go Browns. Hey, free Classe and take Ortiz, man. I'm sick of this.
Free Classe.
Free Classe.
We'll see you later, Tyvis.